Dear students, in this lecture we discuss characteristic equation of delay differential equations. First we recall the basics from ODE course. We consider nth order homogeneous ODE with constant coefficients. We consider linear ODE, say nth derivative of y plus a1 n minus 1 order derivative of y is function of t here, plus and so on, plus a n minus 1 y dash plus a n y equal to 0. Here we assume the solution of the form e raised to lambda t. And if we substitute here, then we can find this as substituting in given ODE, we get r raised to n plus a1 into, it should be lambda raised to n plus a1 lambda raised to n minus 1 plus and so on plus a n minus 1 lambda plus a n into e raised to lambda t equal to 0. That means we have this polynomial in lambda equal to 0. Okay. So this is called as characteristic polynomial of given ODE. And roots of this polynomial play important role in deciding stability of solution. So what is mean by stability of solution? So first thing is what is general solution of this ODE? General solution is obtained by finding roots of this characteristic polynomial. Okay, so if we have distinct roots, say lambda 1, lambda 2, and so on, lambda k, then solution corresponding to these distinct roots will be linear combination of e raised to lambda j t. Okay, multiplied by some constants. We may have repeated roots. Okay, so if lambda j is repeated root of, let me call this as 1 and this has 2, root of 2, say k times, then e raised to lambda j t, t multiplied by e raised to lambda j t, then t square e raised to lambda j t, and so on up to t raised to k minus 1 e raised to lambda j t. All these are linearly independent solutions of given ODE1. linearly independent solutions okay. Second thing is uh, what is general solution? Suppose we have distinct eigenvalues. Okay, right? Lambda 1, lambda 2, and so on. Say lambda L be distinct eigenvalues. Roots of this characteristic polynomial are called as characteristic values or eigenvalues. And lambda j be repeated root k times repeated root or k suffix j be k suffix j times repeated root of 2. Here say maybe from L plus 1, L plus 2, and so on, say L plus M. Okay, something like this. The general solution of ODE1 is y equal to C1 e raised to lambda 1 t plus C2 e raised to lambda 2 t plus and so on plus CL e raised to lambda L t plus here we will have summation for this lambda j. It is t raised to say t raised to I, for example, t raised to I e raised to lambda j t multiplied by some constant, say Cij. Now I should start from 0 and lambda j it is repeated kj times, so kj minus 1. Okay, so this is related with lambda j, and there are such repeated roots, say lambda j, lambda l plus 1, lambda l plus 2 up to lambda l plus m. So we can write this as again summation j equal to l plus 1 to l plus m. Okay, so this will be general solution. Another thing is about complex roots. Okay, so if alpha plus minus I beta is complex root of characteristic polynomial 2, then e raised to alpha t into c1 cos beta t plus C2 sine beta t is corresponding solution of 1. Note that e raised to alpha t into cos beta t and e raised to alpha t sin beta t are linearly independent solutions of 1. Okay, so this is all about general solution of this linear differential equation with constant coefficients. Okay, now about stability. So we should know some basic things. Limit as t tends to infinity e raised to lambda t. It will be 0 if lambda is negative. Okay, we are assuming real eigenvalue. Okay, and this term e raised to lambda t will be unbounded if lambda is positive as t tends to infinity. Okay, so this is infinity if lambda is positive. Okay, second important thing, suppose we have complex eigenvalue alpha plus minus I beta. Okay, if alpha plus I beta is eigenvalue, then its conjugate alpha minus I beta will also be eigenvalue. Okay, so such values appear as conjugate. Okay, so suppose alpha plus minus I beta is eigenvalue. Okay, so what happens to the solution as t tends to infinity? Okay, this is solution. Okay. So e raised to alpha t into sine beta t. We know that sine function is bounded. Similarly, cosine function is also bounded. Okay, so these terms cos beta t, sine beta t will not affect the stability. Okay. However, if alpha is positive, then this will be unbounded. Both the things, I mean, e raised to alpha t cos beta t and e raised to alpha t sin beta t. If alpha is negative, then this will tend to 0. Okay. So, the stability is decided by alpha only. Beta will not affect the stability because sine and cos are bounded. The alpha is called as real part of this eigenvalue, alpha plus I plus minus I beta. Okay, so since mod sine beta t less equal 1 and mod cos beta t less equal 1 for any beta and t, the stability of corresponding solution is decided by alpha. Okay, alpha means real part of eigenvalue lambda if we call lambda equal to alpha plus minus I beta. Okay, if alpha is positive, then solution is unstable. Okay, corresponding solution is unstable. If alpha is negative, then corresponding solution is stable. Okay, so in both the cases, we can write the result that real part of eigenvalue is playing important role in deciding stability. Okay, if eigenvalue is real, then real part is same as itself. Okay, so if real part is positive, real part of eigenvalue is positive, then corresponding part of solution is unstable. If real part is negative, then it is stable. Okay. These systems, I mean, this nth order ODE1 is a particular case of more general family. X dot equal to capital X of vector differential equations. Here, X is vector in Rn, capital A is n by n matrix, of course real matrix, and capital X dot means element wise differentiation. Okay. So here characteristic equation is same as characteristic polynomial of this n by n matrix. Okay, and characteristic roots as we discussed are eigenvalues of this matrix A. Okay, and there are so many interesting things which can be studied from the book Differential Equations. Dynamical Systems. And an Introduction to Chaos. It is by Hirsch, Smell, and Devane. Okay, so this is nice book where this stability analysis is discussed. Okay, now we are ready to discuss the stability of delay differential equations. The characteristic equation for a homogeneous linear delay differential equation with constant coefficients is obtained from the equation by looking for non-trivial solutions of the form non-trivial solution means solution which is not identically zero. E raised to lambda t into c. C is constant, okay? Doesn't matter if we just write e raised to lambda t, okay? C is constant. Okay, so we consider x dot of t equal to ax of t plus b x of t minus r. Okay, we call this as 1. As usual, we take r to be positive numbers, a and b are constants. So what we do, we substitute x of t equal to e raised to lambda t in this equation. Okay, substituting x of t equal to e raised to lambda t in 1, we get left hand side becomes so if we substitute x of t equal to e raised to lambda t, then left hand side becomes lambda e raised to lambda t, and right hand side a e raised to lambda t plus b e raised to lambda t minus r. Okay, now e raised to lambda t cannot be 0, so we can divide throughout by e raised to lambda t, and we get lambda minus a minus b e raised to minus lambda r equal to 0. Okay, so this is characteristic equation. We call this as h of lambda. Okay, thus DDE1 has non-trivial solution if and only if two is satisfied, means equation 2 has roots. We call h of lambda equal to lambda minus a minus b e raised to minus lambda r as the characteristic equation of Taylor differential equation 1. Okay, now what is difference between this equation and the corresponding equation of ODEs? We already have seen that in ODE case we have characteristic polynomial. Okay, here we have transcendental equation because of this term e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, and we know that if we have nth degree polynomial, then we have n roots with multiplicity. Okay, in this case we have transcendental equation, so we can have infinitely many roots. Okay, so there is huge difference between ODE analysis and DDE analysis. Analyzing ODEs are relatively simpler. Okay, finding roots of such equations manually is also not possible in general. We have to use computer softwares and use numerical methods to find approximate roots of such equation h of lambda equal to 0. Let us see some important results regarding characteristic polynomial. So there is very important result about the eigen position of eigenvalues. Okay, we can have infinitely many eigenvalues. So in general, it seems that analyzing stability will be difficult. Okay, in earlier case we have seen that if a real part of eigenvalue is positive, then such eigenvalue will produce unstable solution. Okay, so for stability, we need the real part of all eigenvalues to be negative. Okay, and if we have ODE, then we can have at most n number of eigenvalues, and we can check whether all these are having negative real part. Okay, so for DD case, even though we have infinitely many eigenvalues, next result shows that most of these eigenvalues are on the left side of vertical axis. What is meant by vertical axis? I assume the complex plane. Okay, so what is meant by real part is negative. This is a complex plane. Okay, so this is a real axis and this is imaginary axis. If we have eigenvalue alpha plus I beta, then if I am writing this as alpha beta, this point alpha beta in R2 plane, then this must be alpha, this must be beta. Okay, so this point is identified as complex number alpha plus I beta. Okay, now real part negative means position of eigenvalue should be on the left hand side of vertical axis. Okay, imaginary axis. Okay, so if all the eigenvalues of characteristic equation are on the left side of vertical axis, then we say that the differential equation is stable. Okay, in this case, next result shows that there are only finitely many eigenvalues which are on the right side of vertical axis. Okay, so we don't have to bother about it. Okay, so there is some number, say alpha, such that all the eigenvalues of this delay differential equation lie on the left hand side of the vertical line parallel to this y-axis, passing through this point, say alpha 0. Okay, so all the eigenvalues are on the left. Okay, so let us see this result. This is lemma, which will be used to used in next important theorem. If there is a sequence lambda j of solutions of characteristic equation 2 such that absolute value of lambda j tends to infinity as j tends to infinity. Means absolute values tending to infinity means these eigenvalues are of increasing modulus. Okay, so this it means distance of this eigenvalue from origin is increasing. Okay, absolute value means distance from origin. It is tending to infinity means eigenvalues are going away from the origin. Okay, we have infinitely many such uncountable sequences given, and these are going away from origin as z tends to infinity. Then real part of lambda j tends to minus infinity as z tends to infinity. Okay, so this important result says that if we have eigenvalues, sequence of eigenvalues, and as z tends to infinity, mod z is tending to infinity, means these eigenvalues are going away from origin, then real part is tending to minus infinity. What is mean by real part is tending to minus infinity? Means these values are going to left of vertical axis. Okay, real part is tending to minus infinity means these are tending to left of y-axis, vertical y-axis. Okay, so there are very few eigenvalues which are on the right hand side of vertical axis. That means with positive real part. Almost all eigenvalues will have negative real part. Okay, there are some more things. Thus, there is a real number alpha. Okay, this alpha is different from our previous uh, this alpha. Okay, we were assuming eigenvalues of the form alpha plus minus I beta. Okay, so this is a different thing. Okay, so there is a real number alpha such that all solutions of characteristic equation 2 satisfy real part of lambda less than alpha. Okay, all solutions means all solutions lambda of equation 2 satisfy real part of lambda less than alpha. Okay, so this figure. Okay, so all the eigenvalues are on the left of this vertical line passing through point alpha 0. Okay, and there are only a finite number of solutions in any vertical strip in the complex plane. A vertical strip means such thing. Okay, so consider any such vertical strip in complex plane. In that strip, there are only a finite number of solutions, characteristic roots. Okay, we can say characteristic roots in that vertical strip. Okay, let us prove this result. So for any solution lambda of characteristic equation 2, absolute value of lambda minus a is equal to absolute value of b into e raised to minus r into real part of lambda. Okay, so how this comes? This is our characteristic equation. Okay, so what is lambda minus a? Lambda minus a is nothing but b e raised to minus r lambda or minus lambda r. Okay, so if we take absolute value on both sides, then this absolute value of left hand side is absolute value of lambda minus a, right hand side is absolute value of, this is real number. Okay, so it is simply usual modulus, and this absolute value of e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, and we know that for complex number lambda, okay, so maybe e power lambda is u plus iv, then e raised to minus lambda r equal to e raised to minus u plus iv into r, and it is nothing but e raised to minus ur into cos minus vr plus I times sine minus vr. Okay, and if we take absolute value, then absolute value of e raised to minus lambda r, it will be absolute value of e raised to minus ur, but exponential cannot be negative, so it is simply e raised to minus ur. Okay, and absolute value of this cos of minus vr plus I sine of minus vr, it is cos square minus vr plus I sine plus sine square minus vr. Okay, so cos square plus sine square, that will be 1. Okay, so simply we have this thing. But what is u? U is a real part of lambda. Okay, so this is nothing but e raised to minus real part of lambda into r. Okay, so this comes. Okay, therefore, if mod lambda tends to infinity, then mod of lambda minus a also tends to infinity. Okay, so let me call this as 3. Therefore, left hand side of 3 tends to infinity means right hand side of 3 tends to infinity. But b is fixed number, so this cannot change. So what I can say, therefore e raised to minus r into real part of lambda tends to infinity. Okay, and this e raised to something is tending to infinity means this should be positive and very big number. It should go on increasing. Okay, and it is possible, again here r is fixed number. Okay, fixed and positive, not that r is delay term, it is always fixed and positive. Okay, so the only option is real part of lambda should tend to minus infinity. Okay, so that e raised to minus r into real lambda will tend to infinity. Okay, therefore real part of lambda must tend to minus infinity. Okay, and this proves first part, I think. Okay, this proves first part. Here we have taken lambda. That doesn't matter. In the statement, there is lambda z. Okay, whether it is lambda z or lambda doesn't matter. Okay, so we are assuming lambda tends to infinity means lambda z tends to infinity and z tends to infinity. Okay, so here also everywhere lambda can be replaced by lambda z. Okay, this proves first part of lemma. Now, second part. Okay, of course, this also implies the existence of alpha as in the lemma. Okay, that means, okay, if z is tending to infinity, real part of lambda z is tending to minus infinity. That means this sequence is tending to left side of vertical axis. Okay, so there must be some value alpha such that all the eigenvalues are on the left side of this vertical line passing through alpha 0. Okay, so this also proves the existence of, this also proves the existence of alpha as given in the, as given in the statement of this lemma. Now one more thing regarding that vertical stream. Now we are going to use important result from complex analysis. If we have entire function, then entire function, then this such function can have only finite number of zeros in any compact set. Okay, so entire function will have only finite number of zeros in any compact set. Okay, so this result uh, proves our last part in this lemma, because our h of lambda, it is entire function. Okay, it is lambda minus constant a minus b into e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, so this is the entire function, and vertical strip is here. In this case, if we consider any vertical strip, then it is compact. Okay, since h of lambda is an entire function, there can be only a finite number of zeros of h of lambda in any compact set. So this proves third part and hence the lemma. Okay, this proves the lemma. Next theorem. Suppose lambda is a root of multiplicity m of the characteristic equation. Then each of the functions t raised to k e raised to lambda t raised to k e raised to lambda t, k equal to 0, 1, 2, and so on, m minus 1. Okay, m is multiplicity, so it is up to m minus 1, is a solution of dd1. Okay, so this result is same as ODE theory. Okay, so if lambda is a repeated root with multiplicity m, then e raised to lambda t, then t e raised to lambda t square e raised to lambda t, up to t raised to m minus 1 e raised to lambda t. All these are solutions of given delay differential equation. Since the DDE1 is linear, any finite sum of such solutions, any finite sum of such solutions is also a solution. Okay, this is also same as ODE case. Okay, so if we have um, uh, n number of solutions, then their linear combination is also a solution. Okay, and for ODE, we can have only finite number of linearly independent solutions. Okay, but for delay differential equation, we can have countable number of independent solutions. Okay, so we have transcendental equation and it can have infinitely many roots. Okay, so what happens in that case? Can we consider infinite sum? Okay, here finite sum. Okay, so can we consider linear combination of infinitely many such solutions? The answer is yes, we can do this if that series is convergent. Okay, if we consider infinite sum, then it is called as series, and if that series is convergent, then no any problem. Otherwise, we cannot. Okay? Infinite sums are also solutions. Infinite sums are also solutions under suitable conditions to ensure convergence. Under suitable conditions to ensure convergence means if that series is convergent, then we can use such infinite sum as solution. Let us prove this result. If x of t equal to t raised to k e raised to lambda t. Okay, what we have to prove? We have to prove this t raised to k e raised to lambda t is solution. Okay, so given that lambda is root of characteristic polynomial with multiplicity n. Okay, so first thing is e raised to lambda t is solution of given dd. Okay, uh, here we write x of t equal to t raised to k e raised to lambda t, and we have to show that this is solution of given delay differential equation. Then let us substitute this in given delay differential equation. So what is left hand side? It is x dot of t minus ax of t minus b x of t minus r. Okay, this we have to show that this is equal to 0. Okay, now what is x dot of t in this case? Derivative of this t raised to k e raised to lambda t. Okay, so e raised to lambda t will be common, and we have derivative of t raised to k into t raised to k minus 1 plus t raised to k into derivative of e raised to lambda t is lambda e raised to lambda t. Okay, so lambda into t raised to k. Okay, so this is x dot minus a x of t is t raised to k e raised to lambda t minus b x of t minus r. So it is t minus r raised to k into e raised to lambda t minus r. So it is e raised to lambda t into e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, we simplify this. This is equal to, okay, e raised to lambda t will be common into t raised to k into lambda. Okay, lambda t raised to k. There are some more terms with t raised to k. Okay, let us take these terms together. So this is lambda into t raised to k, and this is minus a. Okay, so lambda minus a into t raised to k. Then there is term containing t raised to k minus 1. So plus k t raised to k minus 1. And this is there. So minus b. Here we use binomial theorem, t minus r raised to k. Okay, so minus b e raised to minus lambda r and multiplied by t minus r raised to k. T minus r raised to k, binomial theorem gives it as summation k choose z k choose z t raised to k minus z into minus r raised to z. Okay, t minus r raised to k. Here z is from 0 to k. We used binomial theorem. Okay, we further simplify this. Okay, so this is equal to e raised to lambda t, which is common. Then in this summation there is one term. If we put z equal to 0, we get t raised to k into something. Okay, so for z equal to 0, k choose 0, it is 1, t raised to k minus r raised to 0, that is 1. Okay, so coefficient of t raised to k is minus b e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, which we can put here. Okay, so lambda minus a minus b e raised to minus lambda r into t raised to k. Okay, so the term z equal to 0, the term corresponding to z equal to 0 is okay. So the term corresponding to z equal to 0 is combined with this. Okay, next thing is, if we put z equal to 1, then we have k c1, that is k. Okay, what we have, k c1, that is k, minus sign is of course there, minus b e raised to minus lambda r will be there. Then t raised to k minus 1 and minus r raised to 1 means minus r. So this becomes plus. Okay, r. Okay, so this is term, this term can be combined with this k t raised to k minus 1. Okay, so what we can write, we can write plus k will be common. Okay, into 1 plus b into e raised to minus lambda r into this r. Okay, what else? Nothing. Okay, into t raised to k minus 1. Okay, and we keep all other terms as it is. Okay, so k equal to 0 and k equal to 1 is combined with these two terms, k equal to 2. So next thing is here we can take this minus sign inside. Okay, or keep as it is, doesn't matter. Okay, so minus b e raised to minus lambda r summation j now start from 2 to k. K choose j t raised to k minus j into minus r raised to z. Okay, so we give some number to this, say number 4. We call this as 4. Okay, so at this point we stop, and then we consider about the term h of lambda. Okay, and then we come back. Okay, so this is all about x dot of t minus ax of t minus bx of t minus r, where x of t is this one, t raised to k e raised to lambda t. Now what is h of lambda? It is lambda minus a minus b e raised to minus lambda r. And what is h dash? Derivative with respect to lambda, it is 1. This is constant. This is minus b e raised to minus lambda r into minus r. Derivative with respect to lambda. So this becomes plus b r e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, what is h double dash? H double dash is, this is constant, and here it is minus b r square e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, now we can generalize. Third derivative will be here b and r square will be constant. Only differentiation of e raised to minus lambda r here onward. Okay, so every time minus r, we are multiplying by minus r. Okay, so this will be plus, so b r raised to 3 e raised to minus lambda r. Okay, so alternative plus and minus sign. So what will be general thing? H raised to j. What will be h raised to j of lambda? If it is second derivative, then it is negative. Third derivative positive. Okay, so b will be there, e raised to minus lambda r will be there, and we have minus r raised to j into minus 1. Okay, so here if it is second derivative, then this can be minus b into minus r square. Okay, r square is same as minus r square. Here it is minus b into minus r raised to 3, so it is plus. Okay, fine, and j should be 2 3 4 up to and so on, in fact. Okay, onward. But now observe this thing. Okay, so what is first bracket? Lambda minus a minus b e raised to minus lambda. This is simply h of lambda, okay, into t raised to k. This is k choose 1. K is k choose 1. What is 1 plus b e raised to minus lambda r into r? Is nothing but h dash of lambda. Okay, t raised to k minus 1. This term minus b e raised to minus lambda r into minus r raised to z. Okay, so minus b e raised to minus lambda r into minus r raised to z. This is nothing but h zth derivative of h of lambda. Sorry, this should be, z should be in round bracket. Okay, so zth derivative. Okay, so 4 becomes, or what we can say, therefore 4 becomes left hand side is x dot minus a x of t minus b x of t minus r equal to e raised to lambda t is common into summation j equal to 0 to k choose j into t raised to k minus j into z derivative of h at lambda. Okay, so simply this one you can always see, okay, by substituting all these terms. Now lambda is root of h, this equation, solution of this equation, or root of h of lambda with multiplicity m. Therefore h of lambda is 0, h dash lambda is 0, second derivative of h at lambda is 0, and so on up to m minus 1, up to m minus 1. Okay. Therefore hj of lambda equal to 0, j equal to 0, 1 to up to m minus 1. Okay. h0 means 0 derivative means h itself. Now note that this k is less than or equal to m minus 1. Here k is 0, 1 to up to m minus 1. Okay. So we can say that this is 0, h raised to 0 of lambda is 0 for all these j equal to 0 to k. Okay. So we may call this as phi, and so right hand side of phi is 0. Therefore right hand side of phi is 0, that is x of t equal to this one, t raised to k e raised to lambda t raised to k e raised to lambda t is solution of delay differential equation 1 for k equal to 0, 1 up to m minus 1. Okay, so this proves that repeated thing. Okay, now the last assertions are obvious. That means finite sum of solutions is also solution. Okay, it is obvious thing. And if we consider infinite sum and that series is convergent, then no issue. That is also solution. Okay, the last assertions are obvious. This proves the result. Thank you.